What's up, guys? I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about one good thing from each team on the West today. Just the West. I'll be doing the East in a couple days, but I'm going to be talking about one good thing about each Western Conference team. So if you like this type of content, like and sub on the video if you haven't already, and let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the worst team in the West, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. The best thing I can say about the Timberwolves right now is that Anthony Edwards is developing very well, it seems like, and it looks like he's getting more and more confident and getting not more and more confidence. He had a lot of confidence coming into the league, but he's slowing down a little bit more. He's not going as fast. He's making reads better, like playmaking wise, and he's always going to be a crazy athlete and a really confident scorer. So those are two things he had coming into the NBA, but it was about him reading things and if he was going to be dedicated to the game and stuff like that. And he gives entertaining interviews as well, which is really entertaining to watch sometimes. So that's pretty cool. And Anthony Edwards looks like he's going to be a really good player in the league. Also, I hope that y'all get a really good package from Trading Cat, because I really want Karl-Anthony Towns to get out of Minnesota. I'm not going to say anything bad about Karl-Anthony Towns because I'm just a decent human being. I'm not going to talk about his defense or something like that, or something that he's bad or something like that while he's battling what he's going through right now. So I'm not going to say anything about Karl-Anthony Towns. All I'm going to say is I hope he gets out of Minnesota, so when he deals with all these, when he gets over all these mental hurdles that he's going through right now, he can be a really good player on a really good team. So that's what I'm hoping for Karl-Anthony Towns, and I like how Anthony Edwards is developing. The second worst team in the West is the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm very surprised by that. Even though I did think those two acquisitions they made in the offseason were bad for their team, I still thought they would be better than the second worst team in the West. But obviously, the most exciting thing about the Pelicans and the best thing about the Pelicans is that they have Zion Williamson, and he's that insane dominant scorer that we thought he was going to be coming into the league. He has that same bounce. He's not as good on defense as we thought he was going to be, but on offense he's just as good as I thought he was going to be, if not better. He's on some insane list with how many points he scored in the first 40 games of his career, and he's a dominant scorer, and like he showed last night against the Suns, he can be really, really good. And when he is that good and he has the pieces around him that is doing their part as well, they can win by 20. They can have games like they did last night against the Suns, which is a really good team, which we'll talk about later. So that's the one really good thing the one good thing that the Pelicans have. Next, 13th seed is the Dallas Mavericks, and the one good thing about the Dallas Mavericks right now is Luka Doncic. And I don't want to say a lot because I just made a whole video about what's going on with the Mavs, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on them. But all I gotta say is Luka's a generational talent, and he needs a little bit more help around him and a better coach, in my opinion. It is crazy that the Thunder have a better record than the Dallas Mavericks, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Anyways, the Thunder are a great rebuilding team, and the one good thing I can say about them is they have a lot of developing young pieces. And Melodon, Shai Gilgeous is not developing. He's a great young player. Darius Bazley, Isaiah Roby. They have a lot of interesting pieces, and I'm really excited to see how they develop. Also, Lou Dort and players like that. So they just have a really exciting future, and I'm proud that they're just not tanking or anything like that. They're still staying in the race as they beat the Rockets by 30 last night with no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So that's pretty impressive. At at the 11th seed in the Western Conference, we have the Sacramento Kings, and the one good thing I can say about the Sacramento Kings is I think they have the backcourt of the future for them. And De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is what I kind of thought he was going to be coming out of the draft, somebody that can kind of do everything but can't be a primary ball handler, and that's a great spot for him to be in with De'Aaron Fox, who can be a really good primary ball handler. So I think that's the backcourt of the future for the Sacramento Kings, and I'm really excited about that for the Kings. Aside from that, they have a lot of pieces to fill, a lot of holes to fill in that team. But Halliburton and Fox are great, and they're the backcourt of the future for the Kings. At the 10th seed, we have the Houston Rockets, and the one really good thing I can say about the Houston Rockets is that they didn't collapse after the James Harden trade and are still in the running for the playoffs in the play-in game, and they just have a really deep team now. They play a lot of guys, and it seems like they like playing with each other, so that's really cool to see. And it's really different from last year when they were playing only 7 guys and James Harden was taking most of the shots along with Russell Westbrook. So it's just a different vibe down there in Houston, and they seem like they're really good on defense now. So it's it's just a different team, and I like that they just didn't collapse and go to the bottom of the conference after the James Harden trade. At the 9th seed, we have the Golden State Warriors, and the best thing I can say about the Warriors is just Steph Curry. That's all. Steph Curry is insane. He's exactly who we thought he was, and he's the best point guard in the league. No Dame Lillard, no Luka, no Kyrie. I don't care. Steph Curry is the best point guard in the league, and I personally don't think it's close because he's so impactful to that team, and they would be the 15th seed again, worse than the Timberwolves if they didn't have Steph Curry. That's how valuable he is, and that's really the only good thing I can say about them right now. They have some decent help around him. I wouldn't even say decent help most of the time, but some games those guys around him get play pretty decent, but mostly it's all Steph Curry, and Steph Curry is that team right now. At the 8th seed, we have the San Antonio Spurs, and the best thing I can say about the San Antonio Spurs is that they'll never go away. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched a lot of San Antonio Spurs games this year, but finally, I think they have a nice young core for the future in Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, DeJounte Murray, and Devin Vassell, and DeMar DeRozan has been that really good veteran for this team, and is still looking like a fringe all-star, and is looking really good this season in his new role as more of kind of like a playmaker for this team, along with DeJounte Murray. So I just like how DeRozan's playing and how this young core is playing. Also, Devin Vassell is a really nice player off the bench. Looks like he's going to be a really good defender in this league. Next is the Portland Trailblazers, and the one good thing I can say about them is that their backcourt is still insane, and this is probably the best start this backcourt has had together before CJ got hurt, because CJ was averaging 27 and Dame was averaging like 28, so they were going berserk and really putting this team on their back, you know what I'm saying, with some of the role players kind of underperforming, and Robert Covington, at times Derrick Jones Jr., at times Yusuf Nurkic before he got hurt. So it's just, it was really cool to see those two just really carry, and CJ kind of put the team on his back a couple nights when Dame was struggling as well at the beginning of the season. But now that CJ's out, Damian Lillard's kind of doing what he was doing last season, going insane. So that backcourt is going to be really good for as long as they're together. I don't know how far they get in the playoffs, but they're really fun to watch. And the 6th seed, we have the Phoenix Suns, and I can say a lot of good things about the Phoenix Suns because we knew that Devin Booker and Chris Paul were going to grow with each other and going to be a really good dynamic duo, but their supporting cast is really, really good. Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, DeAndre Ayton, Jay Crowder, and others like that. They just have a really, really good supporting cast that can shoot with Johnson, Crowder, and Bridges and play really good defense, and Ayton being that really good third option, and hopefully he can become even more dominant in the next couple years, and then maybe we'll have a trio on our hands if Chris Paul can stay up to all-star caliber. So this team has a really bright future. And at number 5, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, and although it looks kind of weird for them to be at 5th because they've just played way less games than the rest of the Western Conference, they've still been really good. But aside from Ja Morant, the biggest thing, because we all know Ja Morant's the best thing about this team, but aside from Ja Morant, their role players have been really good. And in particular, their two second-round picks that they drafted this year, and Xavier Tillman and Desmond Bane have made a very big impact, and that just shows how good the scouting department is in Memphis. And also, Kyle Anderson has been playing very well this year, especially in Ja's absence. So those are some really good things about the Memphis Grizzlies, and hopefully they can stay in this spot as they play more games and kind of catch up to the other teams. Hopefully they can stay in the playoff run. Next up, at number 4, we have the Denver Nuggets. And sometimes we have to question if Jamal Murray is going to come to play, but we never have to do that for Nikola Jokic. He's an MVP candidate this year, and he's just playing out of his mind. Aside from Joel Embiid, he's probably been playing the best season. KD and Jokic are pretty close, but he's been playing one of the best seasons this year, and he's really carrying his team, especially when Murray doesn't come to play. They've had a couple injuries and COVID sparks in their organization, but Jokic is always there, and he's always ready to play. Triple-double watch every single game. And that other day, he went insane in the first quarter and had a crazy day, like 47 points or something like that. Jokic is an insane player, and that's the one really good thing I can say about the Nuggets right now. I don't know about everybody else, how good they're going to perform this year. Porter's a question mark. Murray's sometimes a question mark. And the rest of the team is kind of inconsistent. But I know Jokic is going to be that MVP candidate. And a dominant center like that can carry you into the playoffs. So I'm really excited for the Denver Nuggets. Number three, we have the Los Angeles Lakers, and aside from LeBron, because we all know LeBron is the best player in the league and one of the best players of all time, so it's obviously a good thing. But it looks like AD is starting to come along and being more aggressive and getting into the lane a little bit more, and just not being so passive like he was at the beginning of the season. So that's really exciting news for the Lakers, and I feel like they'll start to go on a run and probably take that 1 seed again. So that's one good thing. But aside from LeBron James, because we all know LeBron James is dominant like that, we never have to worry about him. But Anthony Davis is getting more aggressive. That's really good for Lakers fans. At number two, we have the Los Angeles Clippers, and the one good thing I can say about the Los Angeles Clippers is that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are playing like the best duo in the league. I don't know what I want to say besides the best duo in the league right now. I feel like the best duo in the league overall, like without talking about the seasons, AD and LeBron, without looking at the season, but playing like right now, the best duo in the league is Kawhi and PG. They're playing out of their minds right now. Both of them are. You can debate that one of them or both of them are top 5 MVP candidates. So that's really exciting for Clippers fans, and hopefully PG. Mostly PG can keep this up into the playoffs. Hopefully he can do that and not like disappoint in the playoffs like he's done the last couple years. And Kawhi's gonna do his thing. He had a little malfunction in Game 7 last season, but he's gonna be fine. He's usually mostly automatic and very reliable, so I'm not really worried about Kawhi that much. But PG is really the X factor for this team, because if he's on, the Clippers are very, very dangerous. At number one in the West, we have the Utah Jazz, and I wouldn't have told you, I wouldn't have guessed, and I'm not even going to take any type of credit for this. I would not have guessed that the Utah Jazz would be the number one seed 20 games into the season. They're usually a team that struggles in the first part of the year and then goes crazy in the second part. They're never this guns blazing coming out of the gates during a season. So I'm really surprised that they're the number one seed. But Donovan Mitchell's playing great, and the one really good thing I can say is that their supporting cast is playing very well and knocking down their shots. And Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, Royce O'Neal, players like that, Mike Conley, the supporting cast is knocking down their shots, and Rudy Gobert is being very efficient like always, getting his dunks and being a very good defensive anchor. So that's a really, really good team, and I'm just excited that the supporting cast is giving Donovan Mitchell something, and hopefully they can do that in the playoffs, so stuff like last year doesn't happen and they blow a 3-1 lead again. That would be very disappointing, because Donovan Mitchell is going insane in that series and nobody else could buy a bucket. So Jordan Clarkson, Joe Ingles, Mike Conley, Royce O'Neal hitting those threes and making shots is going to be very important for Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz's success. Alright guys, that's all I got for you guys today. If you like this type of content, like and sub on the vid. The East one will be coming out maybe in like 3 or 4 days, or 5 or 6, depending on if I want to go back to back on these vids, or give you another some other type of content, basketball content, or if I just want to go back to back on these vids, whatever I decide. But it'll be up in at least the next week. So if you like this type of content, like and sub on the vid if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time.